All right, go ahead and check now.
Okay.
Hello. Yes, you should be able to hear me now. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Grant, can you hear me in the chat? Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, what's up?
Delayed, but it picked it up.
So you can hear me then?
Yeah, like I heard, you were like, go check now. I heard myself in the background a little bit going, okay, and then you went, all right, testing, should hear you now.
All right, cool. So you can hear me there. What does it show? Like, what do you see? Is it just a white screen that says starting soon?
Yep, it's a white screen, hexagons, it says starting soon.
Okay, we'll just go leave that up then, and call it. So I want you to call me through Discord.
Okay, got it.
Yes. All right. Come on, don't do this to me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, hang on. You there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Jesus.
Oh, it's delayed. I can't hear you. Hang on.
Okay, this is entirely frustrating. Why is nothing working? Here we go. Grant. Hello, hello, hello. This computer sucks. 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 Yeah, I can hear you.
It was me. I was dumb. I was like, oh yeah, I'll call you on Discord on my phone. I was like, wait, no, I want my computer.
Okay, I got you. Figured it out, huh?
Yep.
Computer sucks.
I'm gonna get off Twitch because there's some background noise.
Yeah. Let's pull that out. But I think now, according to Streamlabs,
It was me. I was dumb. I was like, oh yeah, I'll call you.
Can you?
Sorry, I just joined on the Twitch stream and it was loud. What?
Okay, are you off of the Twitch stream now?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear you, and I'm on Streamlabs, which is what you use to like set up those fancy overlays and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is picking up your audio, so I assume that means that we're good to go, and I am recording. So
You could hear me through Twitch pretty clearly. So
okay, yeah, so we're good to go. So
yeah.
Welcome to the 0 viewers out there to the first live edition of the Couple of Joes podcast, where you will hear just how much we actually edit when we release an episode based on pauses and edit that out, which isn't going to happen now because we are live. So Grant, if you don't want anything on the air, you can't say it. right now.
Oh no, all those things that I say that we edit out.
Yeah. So just to speak to the audience here, let me actually tell Bacchus to tweet this out. So we are live. Can you tweet and make a post? Also feel free to watch. Okay. Oh shoot.
This will be fun. I'm excited to try a new medium.
Yeah, it's we're doing it live. I gotta figure out my computer situation because this laptop is a piece of shit, and I want to be able to do this seamlessly. And it shouldn't take much processing power. Like what I'm doing right now it should not take much, and it still is causing me to lag. But it seems more consistent than what's it called, Audacity. So I think this might be the best way to do it moving forward. I just have to set up my desktop that has not been worked on.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bacchus responded right away, so that's good. Let's grab. Where's the link? Okay.
In the description below.
Copy to clipboard here. Okay, later. BA baller BA. Okay. Now let me drop it in anywhere that I have connections to that is not social media. Yep. Nope. I do not want to do that.
So you said you switched from Audacity, so you're running another app that's recording this right now, and
Yeah.
with the Discord streaming splice, we're basically both on just one. Cool. No more clap. Everyone likes to get rid of the clap.
Yep. No more syncing up because it is being recorded real time. So there's something called Streamlabs. So it has I'm looking at the dashboard right now. It has your overlays and some different options. So I'm using a default one. It's called Facebook Gaming or something like that. So that's just what that image is showing. I don't want it to say starting soon because we are started, but the other option is live scene, which would show me. And my webcam on this laptop doesn't work for whatever reason. So yes.
Okay.
And
I like this already because Discord, as you know, I've been going to a lot more recently for some Among Us for our last conversation we had, but I just had to cough real quick. And, in these COVID times, coughing is, I think, one of the top 7 worst sins you can do. So, yeah, it's very sus. So I just hit mute and I coughed and I was like, whoa, I can self-edit.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I just did it again.
So you're going off and on mute? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Let's go ahead and get started because we really haven't started yet. So hello and welcome to another episode of the Couple of Joes podcast, now live on Twitch. We'll try to do this weekly here. This is the first one. We're probably gonna have to come up with something more consistent, like a time slot, Grant. I know we float that around a lot, but if we're gonna be doing this, then we need to build up a consistent basis. That way, everyone knows when they can tune in, right? Without having to check social media and stuff. It's just it's this time. So if we can do that, but how you been, man?
Star with consistency.
How you been?
I've been good. Been incredibly busy. Gonna be incredibly busy. And I've been all right. It's a pretty nice week. Pretty nice outside. Got some new Costco beans, which we'll get into later over the coming weeks. But overall, today, feeling pretty good. College football was back yesterday. It was a huge boost. Had a nice day in, sort of on I guess the one rainy day that we did have this week was yesterday at least. So I got to enjoy the full slate of full college football action. Can't really really ask for much more than that on a fall day.
Yeah,
So
there you
I'm
go.
all right. How are you?
Not too bad. A little hungover this morning, but not too bad. I drank Bud Light seltzers and I'm hungover, but not. I feel nauseous when I like on hangovers when I'm from drinking beer, but I don't get that. So it's like a much cleaner burn, and I don't feel like emotionally just wrecked
Yeah.
today, which is interesting, which is good because a lot of the times with um, drinking, it just like that emotional burden for whatever reason. But yeah, it was a good time last night. I did wake up a little bit annoyed because there were some shenanigans going on at the place I was at last night, and I usually I'm the one giving out shit, and I know this is like a character defect of mine. I'm not very good at taking shit because I take everything that I say is a joke, but I take everything literal almost. And it was on a subject matter that got under my skin because it felt like it came out of the blue and it was annoying. And then I did the ultimate dumb move when people give you shit, and I defended myself even though I have no reason to, because what was saying was clearly a joke, but I didn't see it as that. So it got worse, and then I think I leaned into it, and then I leaned into it really hard, and leaned into it so hard that I think I made people uncomfortable or something. I don't remember. I was pretty drunk, so
There you go. That's the only answer you need. I was drunk.
yeah, but it was funny. So it's like I woke up half annoyed, half laughing at it because I don't know. I didn't remember like browning out or whatever. I don't remember everything I say and what's going on, but I can remember like the tone and everything. And I just woke up feeling annoyed. I was like, oh God, what did I do? And I also like texted a girl that I graduated high school with like nothing bad, but this is like the last two times that I've hung out with these people, they just have big Northwest Ohio energy, and it reminds me of Northwest Ohio, and I end up just like messaging girls on Instagram from high school. Like it's like why the fuck am I doing this? And it was so dumb.
It'd be the new season of 2040, How I Met Your Mother. Well, I met her when I was a kid, and then I was drunk and DM'd her on IG like a decade later.
Yeah, I have this weird thing in my head. So I haven't checked what the messages were because I'm like, what if I said something ridiculous? But I always do that, and I end up looking back. It takes me a couple of days to like get up the courage to look at what I said, because I don't know. I'm too old to be texting while I'm drinking, but I mean, everyone makes mistakes, I guess. And I'm
you followed a mistake.
Yeah, usually I'm always super respectful and like formal in my texting when I'm drunk anyway. So it's like I always have this fear that I like said something terrible or like super aggressive or something, but it's usually like, hey, how you been? Like, you look good or something like that. And it's just, oh my God, it's embarrassing. But yeah, so that happened. But watch the UC game. It was good to watch, good to see us win. Even though it was
conference competition, you see they're up to 11 now in the polls.
Are they?
Yeah.
After that pitiful performance, I mean that was terrible, dude. How many turnovers were in that game?
Yeah, it was a 21-point win though, and you know what? It's all people are gonna remember.
Yeah, sure.
And other people lost because we've had 3 top 10 upsets by unranked teams, I think, so far this year.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
That's how you get from 5th to 11th.
Who ended up winning that Georgia-Auburn game?
Oh, Georgia put the smackdown on them. I think it was 28-6.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. And yeah, that was my Friday night was the drunk night. So yesterday I was like hung over it. I went straight into college game day, and it was just like old times, and I was all about that. So yeah, I watched a lot of football, and yeah, Georgia looked pretty good. Bo Nix turned into Bo Picks, which is a terrible nickname that's going to stick with him for life, I think. Yeah, it was a beatdown. Then we had a lot of top 10 upsets over the last couple of weeks, like I said, but this time it was Texas, I think, lost to an unranked team. And then you had LSU, of course, last week, and then Oklahoma last week, and Oklahoma lost again this week.
Oh.
So that's crazy. It's just a lot of fun stuff going on right now. A lot of chaos already, which we like. And don't even have 2 of the 5 major conferences yet. Going to be nuts once we get full Big Ten, full Pac-12 action.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's starting to feel like regular football. Although, like watching the UC game and seeing no one in the stands, but recognizing that place and knowing the like what it is when it is maxed out, right? It was kind of like, oh, then it kind of dawned, right? And also, they don't do that piped in noise as much in college football, it seems. So it was like super quiet at that game. But yeah, I don't know. It was. I'm glad we won, but 10 turnovers in a game, it was just so sloppy. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right.
But got the dub, and I do agree about like the crowd thing. I think like the Midwest, like the Great Plains and the South have typically been 20 to 25% capacity. So I mean, the Georgia game sounded not like 100,000 people or however many their stadium fills. I think it's 92 or something.
Jeez.
There was still almost 20 there, and it was pretty loud, and I was getting hyped. It was like a 7:30 Central primetime game. You could actually see the crowd, and they were like getting into it, and there's some like false starts because of crowd noise. It was nice. It was starting, like you said, to feel like actual football again. Slowly but surely. Only in a few places to start. Like I think Miami was the only one the first week that had any crowd at all. Yeah, slowly, it's turning into a full season. And we'll see. I mean, all the professional teams were able to pull off full seasons. And, you just had NHL Stanley Cup end at the end of last month. NBA finals are going on right now. So, it'll probably be shortened off seasons, or maybe, the next seasons are going to be short. But it looks like everything is able to roll into the next thing, I guess. Like NCAA Basketball Commission said that they're planning to go full speed ahead starting November 25th. So yeah, just over time, it's looking like the things will roll, and there won't be like a lost year like it was really looking like in March. If anything, the lost year will be really just March Madness, which is sad, but all the pro teams were able to hold off and extend into the summer, restart. So that's kind of interesting. It's crazy how, I don't know, like it just, I remember at the beginning of the shutdown, it just didn't even seem possible. But I guess time goes on.
Yeah. Well, possible. Everything is always possible. It's just, are you gonna intelligently do it? Because I don't even know if things should be where they're at with the capacities that it is, right? And yeah, because you know what happens. I mean, when you don't follow the rules, your president gets sick of the coronavirus, then poses a threat to national security. So that's great. Love it. Love to see it. Gonna have to mention it because this is a crazy time, and it is definitely been where the focus for me the past week is the politics. So I mean, it's something that you can't kind of run away from in an election year, unfortunately. So.
I feel like we've actually been able to get a little more away from it than normal because you're not out doing so much all the time. That's just my take on it. Or maybe it's because this is my first election in Madison, and actually I kind of do know what it is. It's my first election in Madison, and Madison's never going to not vote a certain way, so no one cares.
Yeah, it's always going to go left.
It's like like trying to campaign in Wyoming. Like, why would you do it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, there's only really a few battleground states that you need to campaign in. It'll be interesting to see. I wonder how much of that exodus from LA is going to happen. Like, what population shifts are going to happen with California now that like everyone's like, this place kind of sucks actually, and people are being displaced because of wildfires and everything, and trying to go to a more kind of boring type of place. When I say boring, I'm relative to LA, right? I mean, everything.
Yeah, less excitable, but maybe not like excitement in a good way, just energy. It's the first step in your process you laid out last year, where, you were discussing your theory that we're all going to split into either hypertech or we're going to split into the woods. And this is step one of that theory, I think, is moving out of California.
Yeah, I have different theories. Now I have things that I think are going to happen first. Before that theory hits. That theory could hold true in maybe a while, but we seem to be on another dividing divergence in society. That's going to be less so of that tech. and more so of at least in this country, just I don't know. It seems so divided. It's just interesting, and maybe it's because like the older you get, the more plugged in you are to people and have an understanding of things going on. But I don't remember it being like this even in 2016, and definitely not 2012. I mean, we would always argue and shit, and my political views have changed so much since I was 2012. I would have been 17, and then before that I was 13. So it just like it's really interesting to see. And like the thing, and I don't want to, I'm not going to say who I'm voting for or anything like that, but the one thing that I do notice is that I see a lot of people who vote based solely on what they hear in the media, and they don't actually look to see what people's policies are, or they'll make up. There's like a lot of this weird bargaining that goes on where people, you meet them, you're like, oh, this is a stand-up person, and like they have high values, but it seems like their values tend to disappear when they're voting for politicians. And I vote with my values, like alongside my values. I make sure that I'm in tune with what I agree with in the world, right? And kind of my moral compass. And then I vote according to that person. And you hear like a lot of, I don't know, I just hear a lot of like, I just like the way he talks. It's like, what do you mean you like the way he talks? Like, do you know, and he's just going to get stuff done. It's like, yeah, but what is he getting done? It's not he getting, like, I can get stuff done. Murdering people is getting stuff done, right? Like there's lots of stuff that you can, I don't know, you can quantify.
I know what you're getting at.
Quantify
you
it.
Can get, yeah.
Just make sure that what they're getting done aligns with your value system, right? Like, I don't care who you vote for. If you do the research and you say, no, this lines up with my values, then there you go. And then, there's always the question of let's debate other people's values. That's like just a slippery slope anywhere because it's their values. It's their core of their being. Like it's their life has informed those values. So it's you can't really argue against someone's values, even though people love to do it all the time and like own other people and stuff. But it's like, just make sure when you're voting, you're doing your due diligence and researching what's out there, what's been said. Don't give people excuses, because if you appease people, history has shown that that's not a very good thing. Is just turning a blind eye. I like, Hitler was great for the economy, right? Just remember that. And like, I hate using that Hitler comparison, but it's the most prominent politician that you kind of learn about, right?
Yeah.
So it's the easiest thing to go to. It's like he did a lot for the economy
In Germany, yes.
but at what cost, right? Like
Yeah,
just remember that, right? Like it doesn't matter what the politician's views are. If they are saying some shady shit, then make sure you don't turn a blind eye to that just because you like their policy on their stance on one policy. So it's just interesting to kind of see that. And like my mom, for example, is one of those people, and I'm like, hey, I'm not letting you get away with that, because she made some like really obtuse comment on how she was going about her voting process. Like, this is the first time that I'm going to vote without your dad telling me who to vote for. So, and then she said, yeah, she like mentioned what she was, why she was voting for the person that she was voting for, which that was her first mistake, was telling me who she was going to vote for. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to create an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to take the stances on all the issues that have been outlined by any policy. Like if one person holds a policy, if the other people don't comment it, but they've made a statement about it, then they'll do that. So the best way is going to Ballotpedia. And I copied and pasted all four candidates. So you have the Green Party candidate, you have the Libertarian, the Democrat, and the Republican, right? Mm-hmm. And I went and I copied and pasted them into just a little simple matrix, and then I Control F'd, and I replaced all their names with candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3, and candidate 4. And I said, don't vote based on the personality first. That is a part of it, but first look at policy and then tell me who you want to vote for. Because if you're telling me you like the way someone speaks is the reason why you're voting for someone, then get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my mom. Sorry, mom. But yeah, it's just it's entirely frustrating. I guess it's probably because I'm such a thinker, and that's how I go about my process. Is I vote. I ruminate about things like this. I hold this very highly. So when I see people that are kind of just like, you know what, fuck it, like I'm just gonna vote for this person because I like their haircut. It's like, it's interesting to me. It puzzles my brain.
Yeah, and you can't escape it, and that's why they play into it. Because if you look back at the first televised debate between Nixon and Kennedy in 1960, the key there was, I mean, this is a lesson that I learned when I was growing up. I was studying some in-depth history, and Nixon refused to do any preparatory work on himself, like you would think if someone's going on set for video, and didn't request any makeup, any screen time, any preparatory time. John F. Kennedy requested all of those, and you looked at the results of when they surveyed how people thought the candidates did. Is Nixon was considerably better amongst people that just listened, and was considerably worse among people that watched.
Yep. I remember that. Yeah, it's it plays into it. I mean, that's true. Most politicians are, decent looking human beings.
Mm-hmm.
AOC is, yeah, she's doing all right. But like it, yeah, it is a part of it. People's image, like, it's the same thing with like dating, right? It's pretty much which candidate are you more attracted to in a lot of cases. I feel like in some respects.
Yeah, the problem is right now, I mean, and I feel like most, actually probably not just right now, it's probably just the internet making it more accessible for us to see into people's mindset. I think that it's speed dating and not really getting to know somebody.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, who was also good looking, what's his face? Guy who murdered a bunch of co-eds up in the Pacific Northwest. Bundy. Bundy was a good looking guy, right? And like, if you ever listen to a true crime podcast, you hear about like the women who are into serial killers. Like, some of these serial killers will get married while they're in prison, because there are women who are just attracted to that type of man. It's really interesting, right? Yeah, I think like even John Wayne Gacy, a gay man, he had like 10 women or something that were throwing themselves at his feet, essentially. It's nuts, dude.
The human brain is nuts.
Yeah. I mean,
that's. I think every the problem is that's not like a cop out because it doesn't explain why, but it's kind of like a funny analysis of pretty much any conversation you want to have on why people do things. Is we're crazy. Based out the why, of course, and like the how it manifests and what's going on and the reasoning behind it, why we are developed the way we are. But it's true.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I was also thinking, was it yesterday or a couple days ago? It's like we're just animals and we evolve, right?
Like the Discovery Channel song said, "Ain't nothing but mammals," right?
Right, but like
we do on the Discovery Channel.
No, what's interesting is, hi Brent, is that I lost my train of thought because I looked at the chat.
You never look at the chat. That's what I learned from Ninja. Well, actually, no, he always looks at the chat, but he just screams at it.
He is an irate human being. But what
Among Us has taught us.
Yeah. No, I was thinking it was like it's interesting. We have this thing where we're obsessed with ourselves. Like, humanity is obsessed with themselves. Like, we have a hard tendency. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot of empathy lacking, I feel like. Maybe that's what's going on. I feel like during these election cycles, there is a lack of empathy in a lot of the times, right? Because it's like everything becomes politicized. But what I was thinking is, like, think about when they make, in any movie, when they make like another intelligent species, like the intelligent species always looks like us, right? Because like Planet of the Apes, they just gave apes human intelligence, but made them look like slightly different humans, right? I don't know, Alien versus Predator, like those were, again, humanoid, bipedal beings, right? So like, what if we're just the only type of sentient animal that will ever exist, right? Because we always perceive if something is going to, like, I always think about this. It's like if humans didn't exist, who would have evolved to be human, right? Would we have like dolphin humans or cat humans? But what if that's not it? What if just like humans are so unique that we've always had this cognitive thought and everything, but it's just unique to us, our one species, that if we left everything go for like another couple billion years, that we would have like another bipedal, intelligent, like Khajiit looking race, like from like Skyrim, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I kind of get what you're going at. I think that, yeah, I think I get where you're going at. Now, for me, it manifests in the answer to your question from my perspective on, well, maybe there wasn't a question there, but, everything else always seems to be humanoid when we envision it. Why? I think it's because collectively the human brain can't really think too complex about large issues that go beyond oneself. I think that we have our own individual surroundings and we can process that, but then when you get beyond it, it's tough. This is why people are a lot less aggressive in person than they are online. To say there aren't aggressive people in person. Like if you look at political studies on, extremism from all sides of the spectrum, it's always worse online because it's not a space that's right around you. It's like the old saying, one death is a tragedy, a million is a statistic. We just can't comprehend much beyond our own self. And I think that applies to not just bad things, but in a lot of ways, we couldn't process or conceive of a species that is intelligent that doesn't function in the same way we are, and we do. It's like something, and I don't know, the scientific merit of this is I'm probably speaking way out of line from understood science, but that's kind of my point. Is every time that we look for signs of life, we always self-admittedly say we look for signs of life based on how we perceive it to be. So carbon-based, needs water. And that's the way that we look for it. And obviously it's the only way that we would have a point of reference for. But again, just to say that it's not, I don't know. It's another element that's not carbon or oxygen. Titanium based. Who knows?
There's not just carbon based life forms that live on Earth. The vents on the ocean floor. They
all those methane things. They look like giant stacks.
Yeah, it's not methane. It's shit. It's toxic to human. We couldn't live with it, right? It's like, it's similar to, hey, this is such a desolate landscape for carbon-based life to live that you wouldn't think that there would be life forms, but it is able to exist, and that goes to prove that life, I think, is more powerful than death. But no, because I think now they're starting to think that there could be life on Venus. I think it's sulfur-based life forms. Sulfur-based.
Mm. Yeah, Venus does have that sulfur.
Right. Exactly. It's just an interesting thought. I love thinking like that because when I'm not obsessing about something that stresses me out, and if I'm meditating and going to the gym and stuff, then my brain becomes the most fun place to be, right?
Humble brag. I like it.
You know what I'm saying? That for me, it is if I'm in a day where I'm thinking clearly and everything, it's my brain's a playground. I can think about anything, and thinking becomes fun for me, right? And it is. That's why I spend so much time doing it. If I didn't enjoy it a lot or didn't have experiences where it was so positive that I want to be in my head all the time, but then I come across something like that and I just get to think about it. It's really fun because I remember back in 5th grade and I had my first existential crisis.
Yeah,
it was I was I never thought like this before. Because it's on the fringes of your thought, right? So it's you're pushing, and it gives you this weird eerie feeling of should I be thinking about this? Am I meant to think about this? I think it's your brain being hey, in order to protect yourself and keep you tune into life and keeping yourself alive. Let's not go there, right? But it's it's fun
on getting the red berry from the tree. Let's not think about anything beyond the tree.
Right. Well, it's no, it's it's kind of, you could equate it to the I'm saying a lot, but I'm thinking eating the apple off the tree, right?
Yeah.
kind of that simile, or using that imagery. It's kind of what's going on, but I don't know. I like thinking like that, and I was glad that I was able to have one of those because I've been meditating more and like trying to do more of a consistent habit. I go in
Yeah.
and out of these phases, but I was like, hell yeah, I was able to reach that mindset at some point.
Yeah, speaking of disconcerting, though, we didn't even get to it because we were so excited about the transition to Twitch and all that. But I do have a coffee review, and it's going to be a brief one. It's going to be sad if you are excited for it today.
I'm ready to be sad.
I'm ready to be sad because I had to
Sad boy.
experience it. So I went to Costco, and I love Costco.
Uh huh.
And I just heard myself say that in a Wisconsin accent, and I realize I'm becoming one of them. That's also terrifying. That's existential right there. But no, I went to Costco, and I love that place. Self-admittedly, it's one of my favorite places ever. It's just great. I like taking people there, even if they haven't been, just to show them how wonderful it is. I like it that much. But Costco has a food section that you go to after the checkout. And it would be like, for me, maybe get more people to understand. Like, if you haven't been to Costco, maybe you've been to IKEA. It's kind of like that, where you're at the end of the checkout line, they have like some food, typically not terribly expensive. For Costco, it's super cheap. I always loved when I was smaller to get hot dogs there and slices of pizza. So like cheap stuff, not the best quality, but you know what you're getting, and it's fun and tasty. Um, I don't like a metaphor for Costco itself. Pretty cheap, and you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But I got a blended mocha espresso, which is like an iced drink that had espresso ground up in it, like a slushy with chocolate, and the picture itself showed almost like a pumpkin cold cream or a cold foam brewing cream. I don't even know, the one I reviewed in September, where it's layered. I talked a lot about layers and the fun aesthetic of that in terms of both taste and appearance, but that was only on the picture, because when I got the drink, it was like a swirl of cotton candy going up the side. That was it. Like, they dumped a little bit of chocolate on the side, and it was just the espresso in the middle. And it was, I'm not even really going to go too much into it. It was just disappointing. Like, it was burnt coffee. I could taste it through the ice and the cold and the slush. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the chocolate was just overwhelmingly sweet. And I only had 3 sips on my drive back.
Mm-hmm.
And I legitimately thought to myself, this isn't worth the calories I'm going to have if I drink all of this. I'd rather drink on something else.
Oh my god.
Put them to use. And I didn't. I had those 3 sips, and I called it, and I threw it in the trash as soon as I got back, completely full. This is going to be the first and probably only 1 out of 10 that I'll give. I mean, maybe I'll give another one. The closest I've come to perfection for positive is the Coffee Emporium Brewhu, and I just loved that one. I gave it the only 10 I'll ever give. Same type of flavor. Chocolate with coffee is what this was going for, so it's a direct competitor, and it couldn't have been worse if it tried. So it's getting a 1. And I know that is very harsh, and it deserves it. But I do love you, Costco. But man, get on your coffee.
Your shit right. Oh man,
Seriously, it was rough, man. It was as bad and sad to drink as it was to try and review it just now.
That sucks. This is the 3rd week in a row where you have had sub 5 coffees.
I know, and I'm really hoping to get back on the saddle with that. Like I alluded to at the top of this, when I was at Costco, I got 2 more beans, like bags with multiple pounds of beans in it, 2 different types to replace the Death's Door coffee, which was the last coffee pre-ground that I got, and it was also from Costco. I really liked that. I'm excited for both of these. The one I'm going to try first is Cafe Cubano. It's Latin American coffee, all dark roast, and it looks like it's pretty good. It's a fair trade. Costco is pretty good with all that, so reputable. You can track the process from growth to getting into the bags. That's always nice. So you're not exploiting anyone unknowingly. That's good, and it has a nice appeal in terms of the profile that it was imagining for me. Dark, bold. If you've been any part of the reviews in the past, you know that that's my go-to. I love the dark roast coffee the most, so I'm excited for that. And then I have another one waiting in the wings for the next time after. So I got two ice of coffee right now that I'm ready to start going through. So I'm hoping that we turn the ship around a little bit. But yeah, this one today, I mean, it's not even a traditional coffee drink. I don't care. It's a one.
It's a one. I thought you say you're going to explain it. I was driving back and I was drinking this and it made me think. I thought you were going to say made me think I wanted to drive off the road.
No, it made me want to throw it out the window, but I won't litter.
Dude, okay, that is one of those things that pisses me off when I see someone flick a fucking cigarette into the. Oh, that was really harsh.
Yeah.
Flick a cigarette onto the road. It's like, didn't we figure out that you shouldn't be doing that in like the 90s or something, or like 2005 when they banned smoking in the bars? I felt like we kind of like got above that, but it's just you're not classy and you're trash. Like I don't need to meet you to know that you're a piece of shit. Like you're. I probably think your political beliefs are stupid. I probably think that you're a terrible human being. I'm going to assume that you beat your kids. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous.
It gets under your skin, I can tell. No, I saw someone on one of the roads near my house throw a whole ass Popeye's like large drink out the window while waiting at a stoplight. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's just like
it's like the shopping cart test. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's one of my favorite things, which is a psychological thing that people like to talk and discuss. It's like a fun, deeper topic debate where it holds a theory that the shopping cart test is the ultimate litmus test for how objectively good or bad a person is at core. Because if you have a shopping cart in a parking lot, you can either leave it by your parking spot or just somewhere, or you can take it back to the things they set up, which allow you to place the cart in and make it easier to collect, because there's no benefit to you to put it into the bin. It's only a benefit to someone else. At the same time, you're not dissuaded from putting it just next to your car or leaving it, because there's no consequence for doing that. The only thing is that it will be a little bit less beneficial for the person that has to go and collect it. Again, they get paid to do that. But then again, you're also making it harder on somebody else to do their job. So it's like there's no consequence or benefit to it. And at the same time, it only provides minimal gain or loss to someone else and never yourself. So it's like a litmus test that was established for determining, how quote unquote good-hearted someone might be. And I think that the same probably applies to littering, except way more extreme, because it's like the detriment is. Why? I don't get why people do it. I don't understand the mindset of it. There's a mindset, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think it's literally like it's the same people that don't wear masks because they don't like to be told what to do. Not because the science has shown that it's not effective or anything like that. It's just like, you can't tell me what to do. All right, it's really annoying, but I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting about that litmus test with the shopping cart thing. It makes me think.
Yeah, what's your take on that? Because I personally love that sort of explanation. I mean, I've been on both sides. I've left my cart before. I've brought it back. So I'm probably just like the majority of people in life then.
Well, I think Jesus Christ himself would have probably brought the cart all the way back into the store and like handed it to a little old lady or something like that. That's what I want to know. What does it say about the people who go all the way back to the the store to put it back in? Because I've never left a cart out because I am I guess I'm better than you, but
that's how we say.
Yeah. Okay. We already got like bots in our chat, but yeah.
Hey.
Posted at the same time. It's like they have these accounts where this one person runs all these different things and they have an algorithm to search out the lowest viewed, and then they do that shit. But
hey, maybe we'll be on Mr. Beast just because we're recording, and it'll be like my second round of giving money to streamers with no views. You can use that as the positive there. We can record our episode, and at the same time, we can look like little feeble, helpless ones that Mr. Beast can give money to.
Yeah, let's pretend like we don't have high paying engineering jobs and get a favorable donation. I've seen like YouTubers donate like $10,000 to someone random. It's like, first off, how much money are you making that you're donating $10,000? I almost guarantee it's almost a publicity stunt because these people have managers and like agents and stuff, so they're probably like, hey, we will pay you $10,000 to donate this. And like it's not coming out of your pocket. It's like the company who is the agency or the manager or whatever, and then it'll boost you so much that like the views that you get for donating the $10,000 probably makes you more money than you lost.
Yeah.
Right.
That has to be how it works. Like I've thought about that too. It's like, if they're giving away $100,000 in some like promotion, then the video itself that they're doing that for will counterbalance that. It has to, because you can't bleed money and still be viable. You have to. It has to weigh out and balance out.
Yeah. And if you pull back that curtain and you realize that, then it kind of takes away from the donation in the first place. It's like, oh,
yeah. Well, it's like it's
yeah.
in the Bible, like don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. It's sort of like the what that's getting
Jerking
at
off?
is
Jerking off?
no, in terms of
okay.
that's funny. No, but in the context there was like in terms of like being generous, because the converse is I see like some YouTubers right now where they're just like they're helping out like some homeless person, or they're doing something this or that, but it's all about them, and it's like, yeah, look at me, I'm a good person. It's like, I don't know you. All I know is you have the money and the views to give a waitress $1,000. Why are you posting it online? I don't know. It always just sort of bugged me.
Yeah. I don't.
I give to different charities actively right now and support different people that I personally know actively right now. And I mean, I'm not going to bring it up here. I don't feel like there's no need to. That's just my own personal opinion, at least.
Yeah, I don't tell anyone. I told someone I donated one time in high school because I had a job and like I could and I wanted to, and I told some people that I knew anyway, and they made fun of me for it. They're like, "Why the hell would you donate your money?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm never telling anyone ever again." I'm not telling anyone ever.
We don't talk about things.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to have to feel guilty for me being charitable. So that was the reason to never bring it up. And also what you're saying too is kind of the humility aspect of it. The Beatitudes, that was my favorite part of Catholic school, was learning about the Beatitudes. Those were pretty good. Everything else was hit or miss. Yeah. Oh, so real quick, Grant, I've been watching chat. Bacchus is asking if we can take some questions. So I have 2 questions that are for you.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll move on to the next thing. But
apparently my chat's not loaded. I had it on my phone over here just to make sure everything was set up, but I still have just welcome to the chat room. That's the only thing I can see.
Oh, geez.
Obviously, my network's doing great today.
Oh, we lost all our viewers? No. Okay. So Andy Bacchus asks, can we hear Grant say a sentence that includes the word cheese curds in his Wisconsin accent?
Oh, yeah, you can hear me say cheese curds now. I think they're the best buttered things you can have. They have the nice mozzarella in them. You get on the lake there, and a cheese curd, nice by the water. You experienced that, right, Justin?
Yeah. Well,
like
I could say I have, easily there, man. But I also go a little Canadian though, I think, because I'm up there in Alberta or something. But
yeah, I think you got to get a little more down in the mouth, where I would say you have to experience the dark roast more.
The dark roast, okay, I got you. The girls talk dirty. Like, how do you talk dirty with a Canadian accent? I don't understand. It's like, hey, baby, I'm gonna.
Why do you think they're all so polite up there? There have to be.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, hey, baby.
Sorry, I want to say something, but it's too funny. I can't. It's not going to come out. I'm going to be laughing the whole time. But okay, that was the first question. I don't even know if he's in there anymore. But another question: which region roasts / cultivates the best coffee beans? I think I've asked you this question before, but yeah, if you want to go ahead and answer that.
I think my tastes have changed since then because if I remember right, the last time I answered this question, I really liked sort of the tropics. Um, like you get some tropical island coffee from Southeast Asia. I've always really liked that. I think my tastes are switching more towards Latin America. I really like I don't know, a good Latin American coffee has
Mm.
been more of my go-to recently. Both of the coffee beans that I got today were sourced from Latin America. One was from Nicaragua, one was from Guatemala. And I don't know, that's something that I usually would have gone for more of like I don't know, like an Indonesian, maybe maybe um an Ethiopian in like Central Africa. So still, of course, around the same belt, around the equator. But I don't know. I've shifted more westward, I think, in recent months. That's definitely been something that's changed this year, though. I was never really more. I was more of like a typical Arabica bean from somewhere in like Africa,
Mm.
and I don't know. I feel like I've adjusted quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah,
The answer
interesting.
why is I think that I've mentioned this multiple times, both to you on the show. I like dark roast, of course. I said that in this episode, and I think that the on the whole, what I've had, my own personal experience. Obviously, you couldn't have every different coffee in the world each day and still have enough time in your life to do it. Um, but the best dark roasts that I've had have been from the Central American region, and I don't know what it is about, maybe I just got lucky with what I've selected, or maybe it really is something innate to the region, but it just seems to have more grounded flavor. It's not just dark for the sake of being bitter. The Arabica beans that I would get from Africa as I got older and taste buds changed typically tended to do more of that. And the ones from Southeast Asia that I've had have typically been more fruity, and I'm not all about the fruit aspect of it. I just don't want to have bitterness for the sake of being bitter.
Mm.
And the Central American dark roasts have typically had more bold flavor, and not just saying that on the packaging because it draws people in, but actually bold, as in it isn't just something that's sharp and tangy and bitter. It's something that actually hits you, and it has a distinct profile and a distinct flavor. It knows what it is, and it's not generic. And I feel like part of that is also nature versus nurture, and the nurture part being most of your McDonald's, your Starbucks, your Dunkin', most of those are Arabica beans that are not straying too far from the path. So I think that's why I've enjoyed the Central American coffee more, is it's more unique, typically compared to the general average American going out and getting a coffee experience. And that's what this whole journey for me has been trying new things that you can't just go down to Dunkin' Donuts and grab a cup of, but actually putting thought and work into selecting how I'm going to make it and what kind of flavors I want to work with. And the Central American ones I found typically don't fit the normal profile of your to go coffee in this country. And I'm all about that.
Okay, gotcha. Did you ever try that coffee that Ed brought?
Yes, and I
Yeah.
loved it, and that was the start of me looking into the region. So thank you, Ed.
Yeah. So I have a question then, just kind of since we're on the topic. Since the podcast has started, has your coffee have you started drinking more coffee because of the podcast? I know you're a heavy consumer anyway, but like has it pushed you beyond where you think you would have been if we didn't do this?
Um, and the reason being is I've really started to appreciate more the pure coffee. I used to in college, and you can probably attest to this. I probably dragged you along at least at some point. I know Brandon and I would always go. Um, but I would go to, Starbucks, and I would get, a latte here, a fancy this, that. Typically I went with lattes, and, Brandon and I, we go to McDonald's, we go on our McChicken runs. He and I grab, their French vanilla iced coffees and stuff. So I used to do a lot of frou-frou drinks on top of the regular coffee I would brew. So what I always felt like I was doing there is I would get like the caffeine and the coffee, the heat, just like the overall experience from brewing in my apartment, and they give you a pick me. Or and do variability and look into different flavors and whatnot with like the fancy quote unquote drinks like you could get at a Starbucks is the one I'd always go to on campus. That's what I'm going to reference there most, but also like McDonald's, like iced stuff and all that. So I do like my variability there, and I keep my base coffee at my house consistent. And now, because of the podcast, I've become so interested in trying out the different types of coffee beans, and like I just went on a tangent about different beans, different ways to prepare it. I've gotten so interested in that just with like the base coffee experience at home, branching out there, that sort of scratched the itch of let's try something new for me. So I haven't been going out and getting mocha whatever latte things pretty much at all. I mean, I go to one shop still, the Lakeside Street Coffee House, best one I've reviewed here in Madison, in my opinion. I still walk there, and like this morning, I went out for an early Sunday morning drive with the top down. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go stop there on the way and get a coffee from there. So I got something fancy, but that's been the exception now, and it used to be the norm. So my base coffee intake hasn't changed much, but my extraneous coffee intake has dropped a lot.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, interesting.
I think it's been good for me, honestly.
You think when a Canadian girl orgasms, she goes, "Oh, oh, oh."
What? What the hell? Okay, never mind.
Oh, hey, baby.
Probably.
Mind if I
oh, hey, baby.
put my cock inside?
I gave like that heartfelt coffee response, like the journey this podcast has taken me up on, and then in the same second we got that. If that ain't the show, I don't know what is.
What you were saying was interesting, and I was invested in it, but my mind was also wondering at the same time. Sorry, I really peaked.
No, like if that ain't the show, I don't know what is. It's all right. You gotta have the balance.
Yeah, I piqued my own interest. What can I say? Oh,
yeah,
oh, oh shit, that's funny. You probably get a thank you after, from a nice Canadian lady. Okay. Yeah, cool beans. Anything from your daily life that you want to talk about, Grant? Any observations this week that you've made?
And I tell you what, I've been so busy this week that really the two exceptions I had to work, drive around in my car a bit to decompress, sleep has been Among Us on Wednesday was a blast. And actually, no, I guess the debate, but I've already blocked all the politics out of my head. So that's probably why I didn't think, because we had a drinking game for the debate, which there we go. Let's talk about it, because not the debate itself. I don't want to get into any of that. But drinking game for it was a blast with my roommate. I would highly recommend having some 21 plus fun there, because we were not only able to successfully not existentially think about the crisis that we were watching unfold, but we could laugh about it drunkenly. It was great. But no, aside from that, I got some Among Us, got some Warzone. I guess that'd be the one takeaway is, I'm going to definitely continue and do some more drunken debate fun.
There you go.
Specifically drinking games. There were a lot of really good ones. I mean, there were a lot of really good nonpartisan ones too. So, like the classic, well, okay, one word, what is the candidates? Joe Biden, senile, Donald Trump, just absolute jerk, right? Mm-hmm. And there were a couple drinking games we found online that played so beautifully into both, and the payoff was so great because it's so true on both counts.
I hope interruptions weren't like, if someone interrupts, then you have to take a drink, because there were 148 interruptions.
Yeah, there were a lot. The one we settled on didn't have it. It was more about like what people would say, not so much what they would do. um, which was ended up being good because it used some of their mannerisms and we avoided the interruption one, which I did see on one that I screenshot and saved just in case. But I'm glad we didn't go with that.
Shoot. Yeah, no, it is literally. I mean, well, the girl I've been talking to is just like, I'm like, hey, you want to watch this? Like, let's get drunk and watch this because it's literally the highest form of entertainment right now. Like, it is
That's the
the
thing,
highest,
yeah.
not the highest form. It's the highest form of like reality TV, right? I mean,
Yes,
that's
there you
what
go.
Donald Trump is. He's a reality TV star, right?
Yeah.
So that's what he's always been good at, and pulling eyeballs and getting eyeballs and getting attention. Like that has been his career up until presidency, really. I guess he is a businessman, but yeah. So it's I don't know. It's the most entertaining thing going on. I mean, the election. It sucks that happens. Like America, land of the entertained. Like we love to be entertained, and we have the most entertaining person you can possibly get in the presidency. Yeah. Shoot. It's like it's an easy thing to get drunk and watch and everything.
Yeah.
Cringe every time you cringe. Take a drink.
There you go. No, you'd pass out. No, and I went back and I watched some like old debates to compare, and I mean, there were still, like they were trying to get, like I watched, like again, like I referenced earlier, the JFK Nixon one. I was interested in that. I also watched Carter and Reagan in '80, and like it's just the difference is, I don't want to get into it, man. I don't want to get.
Well, it's like they would agree with each other, be like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good point that we should do it that way."
It's like you get, yeah, that's a good point. Also, you're wrong, but thank you for explaining it, articulated it very well, and presenting your argument. But I think it's dumb, and here is why.
Yeah. That doesn't happen anymore in a lot of things, but
Again, I feel like this could tie back to our regular recurring theme of the internet age and the unknown with it, but I think this is just another example of that because you have all these debates, right? And whichever side, if you want to look at people who are like taking a side on it, so not the people that are like, okay, this was a train wreck all around. If you have someone who's like, yeah, Joe Biden won that, or you have someone who's like, yeah, Trump won that, like the way they're going to do that is not going to be the whole debate. It's going to be a soundbite of 4 seconds, and the way that they're going to say, and that'll be for like how they'll support their own guy. Like Donald Trump and Joe Biden individually had several great moments that you can take into a 4-second soundbite, and people have. And Donald Trump and Joe Biden had a ton of horrible moments that you could take into a 4-second soundbite as an attack on Twitter.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about, because that's what gets that farthest reaching engagement nowadays. It's not like a well thought out policy. Like people aren't going to understand like Trump's 2016, right? Trump's 2016 presidential thing. One of the things he was going against was the PPP or TT, whichever it's called. It's like the Pan-Pacific Pact, I think. So Triple P. It was like a big economic thing that he was going against, saying it wasn't good for American economy, jobs, or whatever. Beyond the actual validity of those statements, no one's going in the public. No one's going to sit there and think, okay, as a whole, all of society, people don't get the PPP and what it is and all the ins and outs of it, how it's good, how it's bad, how he's good for supporting it, or maybe how he's bad for supporting it. And understand, make America great again, and that's the soundbite. That's it. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a reflection of our modern society or a reflection of our nature as humans to focus again all the way back to it on the immediate world around us, and the fact that we have a bad ability to perceive truly and empathize with things beyond our own situation. But that's what it is, and that's what the debate is now. It's because both of them are trying to leverage their 4-second soundbite that says the 4-second soundbite that says the blue flavor looks good, and then the 4-second soundbite that says the red flavor looks bad, and vice versa.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And people will always vote like align with their own needs most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That there's also a perception of what I have in my mind. I think people who are concerned with themselves only tend to vote one way specifically, and then people who try to say that they can take better care of other people, tend to vote the other way. I think it's obvious which way I'm saying for both, but yeah, and that
The thing for me though, I know what you're getting at, but I want to stick around real quick with like the whole like debates over time though before it gets lost. It's just like the thing I wanted to bounce off you. I don't know the answer to this, but
I do. No, go ahead.
maybe why is it so much more effective now to have the 4-second soundbite as opposed to the well thought out and articulated discussion? Because you look back at the debates from decades past,
Yep.
and they're well thought out, articulate, understanding of the other party. But again, like I said, like saying, I respect that you think that, but I think you're wrong, and here's why over 2 minutes. Why? Where did that go? Why does that not matter to people? Because that's the ultimate thing. The reason that the debates have been like this year, last year, think about Barack Obama's line against Mitt Romney. That was great about like the whole Russian thing and like the point is like in the 2010s, why does it make such a difference? Because that's why they're doing it. I don't know the answer, but why? That's just my question.
So I think this is why. And I'm going to say some things that probably will show it's just what I tend to think, my worldview. But I think that it has happened in recent years, and it has gone to the scope of politics lately because of who we have leading the country. Kind of this. It's interesting, right? Because like I always hear this. I always hear this from people who are vehemently Donald Trump supporters, and I hate to make this political, but it ties into it because politics, whether we like it or not, who leads our country tends to set the tone of the country when they're in charge. Like that's just how it is. Like you can't ignore the fact that this is such a large decision and impacts your life. And
although I will like to get a plug in there to also vote for your local stuff too, because that actually has more impact on your day-to-day life. But
yes,
people never do that.
Right. Yeah, they get caught up with this, and I know I do as well. But I always hear this from people who are big Trump. It's like Donald Trump got elected because everyone was tired of political correctness. And my response to that, and what I think is like, what are you defining as politically correct? Well thought out, articulated things that are articulated well, or is it like, is it cutting things out in order to not offend anyone? Because I think those lines have some. I think that's how it started out. Was the latter with people are being too hypersensitive, right? But it's somehow gone to the extreme, and I see this in internet comments and stuff. It's like, no, we don't need anybody politically correct here. It's like he's articulating and thinking it out very and well thought, right? And also I think what they found too is that probably the American public is a lot dumber than what you originally think. So speaking and articulating things very well thought out and putting things in long form where they actually have to think through and think critically about what's being presented to them, it doesn't work with a lot of people. It's easier to get the vote of stupid people. So you need to appeal to stupid people because they make up the majority, right? So if you have a person who is stupid and the only thing that they can process is a 4-second segment, right, of like a gotcha moment or whatever, then that's what you need to appeal to, right? You appeal to your voters. You talk to who gets you into office. It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, your values usually end up aligning you with some of the policies, some of your boundaries. You can set boundaries up with your values, but people do a lot of mental gymnastics just to appeal to them and convince themselves that they're a good person and what they grandstand on and what they platform on. But honestly, I think it's that. I think it's just that they found that this is the most effective, right? It gives them the most results. That's why it happens, right? It sucks because unfortunately, when you have this overload of information, what ends up happening is you filter based on what you want to hear. So then you ignore everything else, and we're kind of in that stage. So they're appealing to that aspect, right? They're like, we know we have this 4-second segment that's going to appeal to these people sitting around 100 IQ, right? Who are basically above barely functioning brain capacity to lead them through lives, and then they just need a 4-second segment. And stupidity is on both sides. Like most people don't think critically through this stuff. Most people aren't like a philosopher or an economist, right, and understand the impact of votes, right? They just want to hear certain things. They're just waiting for candidates to say certain things, and then everything else goes in one ear and out the other. Because I'm sure I do it because I'm human. No one's called me out on it, but I've called out relatives on it and stuff. It's like, hey, there's things being said. You like this. This is what you're looking for. You're waiting for someone to say that, but then you ignore everything else that they're saying. It's like, understand what is all being said. And that's my kind of theory behind it, is just it's because it's what sticks in people's brains, and people aren't intelligent enough to like think through, oh, maybe I shouldn't just need more than a 4-second segment. It's what gets them votes. So
That's interesting. I want to latch on to the piece that I think I agree with most there, which is the largest untapped potential of people who haven't made up their minds or haven't decided that they want to vote or not vote yet aren't going to be your political files who are studying up on a bunch of things.
Yes.
And learning and thinking through. It's the people that either that don't care because they don't want to, really. And if you can impact them, it's probably a lot more cost to benefit analysis in terms of being favorable to a campaign to go after those, as opposed to trying to win over someone.
Yeah. It's
like the reason that another, like, something I hate, which is the crossover craze in this country. I hate those vehicles. Like, bring me sports cars, but no one buys sports cars. Everyone buys crossovers. So you can't fight facts about the fact that it's going to make you more money as a company to cancel the Camaro and rebrand your classic rugged outdoor car, the Blazer, as a crossover, which is what Chevy did. And I hated that they did both of those things. Car people I know hate that they did both those things, but car people aren't the people that are making the millions of bucks. It's the people that don't care and buy a crossover.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And like I said, some people's threshold. So yeah, people have different thresholds on what information, the amount of information that they need in order to make a vote, right? Some people need a 4-second segment. Some people, like me, I don't decide until I go into the voting booth. Usually, it's like it's just the way things go. Yeah, and honestly, talking about this is making me mad because like I'm thinking about it, and like my like I said, my approach is to research and to read up on candidates and make sure I'm doing my diligence. I don't do it on the local level very much, which I should. But like my life is fine where I'm at, so I'm like, if things are just the same, then I'm good to go. But it's more of like that future. I always think I live in the future. My head is mostly in the future, right? With what I think about. So like, I kind of think about the president, because that's what you do in 4 years does not just last 4 years. It's not like, Obamacare is a good example. He's gone, but Obamacare is still there, right? Like that's a lasting impact that's going to last for generations, and generations are going to feel that, right? In a positive manner or a negative manner. It depends on what the impact is, and only history will tell. And so like, that's why it's like, when you vote, like it's the most important thing you do in a 4-year period, right? It really is. At least that's my viewpoint on it, and it always perplexes me while people say, my vote doesn't matter and whatnot. It's like heartbreaking, honestly. It's like, because then that tells me you don't believe in democracy, and it's like that's kind of scary. But yeah, and it makes me mad because then I think I put all this thought into it, but then you have people say, I like him because he's not politically correct. It's like, do you know what his issues? Like you live in a trailer park. Do you even understand like how his, like, what about this person's statement is going to help you get out of that trailer park? Do you want out of this trailer park? Like, does someone being politically correct or not politically correct get you out of the trailer park? No. Policies do. You got to look at the policies, man. Like, personality takes precedent too, because that person is also going to be interacting with other world leaders and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's whatever, man.
Yep. Complex.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been going for a while. I think we got started pretty early on in the stream. Been streaming for about an hour and 20 minutes. Have been recording
unedited too, so it's straight through content.
Yeah, I'm okay with it this way. I never really say anything that I'm not willing to share because I'm pretty open. So, and we had some listeners here that were joining us along the way. Bacchus and Brent, looks like a couple other people joined in and out, but not sure who it was because they weren't chatting. But this is a successful experiment in my mind, Grant. Don't know what your thoughts are.
I think my thoughts are, I think it's nice. I personally like Discord as an application, so being able to talk to you over that is a benefit. I like Twitch now because reference our Among Us conversation last week, so that's a benefit. And I think combining that into one spot where there's also less editing for you on the back end is great. And the slight engagement as well was kind of fun, made it a little fresh. I like it. It throws some variability in, which I did a discussion on with coffee. I like that variability. That's what I'm looking for. Get some new spice to life. So I think it was a success. I think this was great. I had a ton of fun doing it.
Yeah. Same here. And honestly, I like the chat aspect of it because I feel like that makes it more more interactive. And I like making people laugh, and it makes my ego feel good. So Bacchus said he was dying at one point based on our conversation. So like I could definitely feel there's a little bit of a mental shift. Like I'm turning it on more, like trying to reach for more entertaining, because instead of just entertaining, you are entertaining more than just you, but like first it's to try to make you laugh too. But then also if I have people I know in the chat, like I'm going to try to make them laugh and say something that I know will make them laugh. So, and then we go serious. We were like going in and out of seriousness too, which I liked. So, and talking political does work on Twitch. I mean, there's a guy named Hassan Anabi or something like that. He's a streamer. He gets like 30K views on his streams and stuff like that. And he just does political commentary and like watches YouTube videos and comments it. So his is essentially like when he does a live stream, it's an 8-hour podcast essentially talking about different videos and breaking stuff down politically. It's very interesting. So it does have a place if we talk about that or other stuff, kind of existential stuff. I think there are. It's not like, YouTube sometimes feels like it's just full of, cringy teens and early 20-year-olds, right? And no one's there for something intellectual. And I think our podcast, we talk about funny stuff. We talk about sports. We talk about video games. We get philosophical. We get political sometimes, like today, kind of without like, and we don't scream at each other and yell and say you're stupid and whatnot and everything.
It's a refreshing thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Except I do like being called out sometimes. I have an interest. I love
ladies.
I love confrontation.
You hear that?
Yeah. No, I love confrontation, right? So I want someone to like say that because if someone says they don't agree with me, then I immediately go, okay, well now I want to understand, right? So it becomes like this thing in my mind. But
that's less spicy than I was trying to make it. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, hey, some things carry through in other avenues too. But I think that's it, Grant. If you want to go ahead and take us into closing.
Yeah. I think we said everything that can be said. I like the new format. I think it's kind of fun. Keeps it fresh, lively, interesting, using better applications than we were before. So I'm looking forward to getting back on this again next weekend. And yeah, it's been a blast sort of streaming with you, talking through things, talking through the worst coffee I've reviewed on this show. So what a way to start off our new chapter in technology with that. But like I said, I'm eager to move into the next stage of coffee reviews because I have a couple new things lined up and I'm excited for that. So yeah, looking forward to it. And thanks for the conversation as always. Thanks to those that joined, engaged us, and please continue to do so in the future. We greatly appreciate it. Look forward to it. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So for that and for Justin in Cincinnati, this is Grant in Madison signing off, saying have a great week.
Goodbye.